definitely in the work.
I will try not to.
Okay.
Since we are doing a quick refresher right before we start majorly going with. Okay, so you can say yesterday we looked at the home tab, isn't it, and the basic, so I say commands that we have, commands to affect our sheet. Isn't it? Yesterday because we saw that there is the read board, which is like the central command area where you pick commands to execute on your sheet to affect your data. Right? We saw that the spreadsheet itself is a collection of rows and columns combination into cells, and each cell is like a data space where you type in where you store your data. And yes, and we have different groups in the home tab, set of commands that are grouped into the clipboard, the fonts, the alignment. We saw the number, which is formatting number. There's some here talking about formatting. We saw that we can have the numbers to look in different ways, either currency or we also saw one nice thing with Excel dates, how they calculated their dates. So if you're just using numbers from 1900, they're adding every day, then they convert it to a certain format to look like the number, right? Then we said, of course, the Excel file is the workbook, and you have multiple sheets that you can navigate through that. Then we saw some basic formatting like boundary and color field, those basic things like that. I think towards the end, even though we kind of almost rushed this part a bit, with the conditional formatting, we have a section for conditional formatting. It's very important, so we're going to come back to it.
Okay, that's that conditional.
Yeah, this conditional formatting. We have a section for it. A section that just talks about it because it's important. We're going to come back to it more. Dealing with the sales group. With the sales group, how you insert a row or a column. So these are just, for example, I have this cell selected. Like with the sales group, these are commands that will allow you to insert new row. Okay. So the cells will have you insert row or columns. Yeah, new row / column. So the behavior, if I click it, you see it inserted a new row on where I selected. So basically, you just have your row. So you have, just in case you have like, you need to add something like that, so you can do that. But what you can also insert the column, but make sure like the cell you are speaking. If, for example, I'm highlighting this cell, I selected this cell, and I'm trying to add the row or column, it will assume that it is around this cell I want to add the row or column.
Because if I highlighted it
here, because I highlighted it. So, with our table here, if I want to highlight it, I want to add the row on that table. It's best I highlight the table itself, or something close by to the table, so that I can add the cell or the row or the column, so that it will be close by. Because it's a very wide sheet. If I add it here, it will be, there won't be any difference because there won't be much have these empty cells anyway. Then yeah, of course they have the research sheets also down here, but the same thing as the research sheets here. Okay, so they just added the commands, bundle them together. But then there's the delete command also. The delete command is basically opposite of the insert. Where insert adds new one, then it will take it. So let me use the delete command from the sheet. To take out the new sheet, you just add them now. So to basically go back to the new, yeah, so it takes it back. So those are quick commands to help navigate and operate on your data. Then yeah, I think we should go to the we'll work on the editing. Yes, we started talking about editing, especially this is called auto sum. Actually it's auto sum. It automatically, if I remember, this is the way you click it, will automatically add to highlight. So let me say if I have this cell highlighted, for example, this cell, if I try to do auto sum, because there's no numbers close to it that Excel dictates, it won't do anything serious. But if I select this cell instead, that is close to my table, if I click auto sum, you will see the Excel is intelligently trying to add that particular row. So to the right, it's trying to add a particular row. While if I highlight the cell on the bottom, that is on the row side, if I do the auto sum, it will try to automatically add it down. So let me. You have this selected, right? You click sum. It wants to. Oh, you did it already. You added it already, so it's trying to save it. So it's going to be the same number. That is. Also remember, yours is a table. Yesterday we said it's a table, so the table makes it easy. I mean, I don't even need to do for the next one. It does it did for all of them. So let's say if I select this, so that it can find it down like this. So you see, I don't begin the button for me here. So but these two places are the same. It's these cells that so I highlighted these cells. It's there. Certain cells. Let me try to table here so that Now it's just style that makes it look like this, right? But to make it a table, remember when we made it a table, I think it was format table we used. The format table we used, I think is highlighted everything and said, so Excel created like a table, framework or it that makes other calculations easy. So to remove it here, to convert it to real. So it takes that table functionalities off. Okay. So now it's just like a plain spreadsheet, worksheet here, worksheet with formatting, nice formatting. Yes, it gives the formatting to us and I think the table functionality. Okay. So that is that with the auto sum. The auto sum has those, but then the auto sum has other functions. It is auto sum because it is the sum. Remember, yes, there are other. Yesterday we said there are formulas and there are functions. Right? We said there are formulas and there are functions. And we said formulas is the ones you use the operators like the addition, the multiplication and division. So basically, if we do the equal to, we said the formula starts with the equal to, right? Then you start calling the cells plus this. The Excel will evaluate what that is and store the result there. But with functions, if you do the equal sign, you can write the name of a function. For example, sum. The sum is addition function, right? What the auto sum does is it has other functions that you can swap. So instead of doing what is the sum of these two numbers, you can choose. You can just click to be a sum, but I can choose average. So instead of getting the sum, you will get the average. So if I click average, so you see the function used is average of this D3 and E3. D3 and E3. Also, the way they wrote this D3 and E3 is called a range. It's called a range. So instead of saying maybe D3, E3, it doesn't. That's not how you pass multiple cells to a function. You use the column. So we are trying to say from E3 to D3. That's how you pass it. Also, we can pass from C3 to E3 by just saying C3, E3. So you see, the range, just like we did with the table, we said convert range from a table. Range is just you selecting a group of cells. So let me see, for example, if I will select these cells that I just highlighted. For instance, if I will select these cells that I just highlighted, you notice that it is from E10 to H18, H19. E10 to H19. So the range is E10, H16, not 19, 16. So basically, this is a range. So if I have numbers here and I want to add all of them, I'll just use the sum function and pass this range. Excel will collect all the values in all these cells and add them together. So this is the function. This is why the function is a bit nicer to use than the formula, because the formula will have to start saying E10 plus E11 plus E. So the function is like it's just a consolidated way of moving. Yes, an advanced way of using the formula. But of course, we are not going to have functions for everything. Then if you have some special things you have to do, maybe some business logic, then you can use your formula for it. For that aspect. So there's a range. That's why you see functions like average or sum taking a range. If you assign range, there's also count. Yeah. So count to just count the numbers of elements here. And here just we have those two for English and math. So then there's the minimum and the maximum also. Count. Then there's minimum and maximum, which to compare the two, which one is the smallest in return is that's for the minimum. Then for the maximum you get the largest type, so the maximum. There's also more functions, but we are going to see that when you go to the formula tab, the whole tab lines, and you have these things. Then there's adding. We're going to look at adding when we actually start advanced Excel. That's actually one of the first topics to see. Adding. So the next thing I will say we should review is the insert tab. The insert tab. So like the name implies. Insert tab. Yes, right here. So why it's doing like this? Because it's the status. Excel the same point. We are still in the non plus enter for account. So we're not doing that operation. So that's like the status. So when it's red, you will see it's highlighted. So if you start an operation, it will be entering different states. According to the status, when you are done, so come back to where you need to start so the insert. Like the names says insert, it's basically you bringing in you see other objects, bringing in other objects into it. Other objects. For example, you see the first group here, it's the tables group in the insert tab, right? You see the first group is the tables group. So we're just trying to see. Now I know we use table the other time when we format as table. It is possible to bring the table, should I say table functionality on your sheets. So if you want to do that, you just select, when you click on the table, yes, you see it will enter point row. Now it's asking you to see your Excel automatically selected where your data is. But mine was pointing, and just pointed to a random place. But now I can actually select this place. So this is where I want it to be a table. So when you're inserting table, and you see we have a check, like a check mark here. Now when you select it, we are trying to say that the first row is the header. You know, every cable mostly will have headers. Show us what those data are. So when you usually check it, if not, it will assume that okay, there's no header in this table, and if you want to put sum, if you want to add this and math, again you cannot add math in other number. So then you click OK. So you see the now so you have the table. And when you add a table, Excel will add this. You see these tabs, these extra tabs. They call them contextual tabs. So because they are tabs that come on based on the object you have on your spreadsheet. So those two tabs now will help you with commands concerning more commands concerning your table. More commands concerning your table. So basically, that is what these two tabs are. So, and when you have when you inserted a table, things like sorting is easier. You don't need to go to the home tab to sort. Like we said, just when you come here, see this is where you put something in, and you like we said yesterday, I want to filter. So all those functionalities are brought here in the table. It just makes something easier and automatic. So that's how we table. And we're going to look at more tables later. Let's just stop and have the table. So can we convert it back to range? So the next item is the insert. The next one, so the next group is the insert. Will be the illustrations. So this is actually where the major things, the major object that I said we are bringing into our sheets. So illustrations, things like pictures. Things like pictures, shapes, icons, smart art, or even screenshots. You might want to bring them into your Excel sheet. You want to make for further explanation. You just want maybe. So, for example, let me pick a picture. Let me look my organization's logo. I need to add it to the worksheet. I don't know. But Excel provides the ability for us to import. So I'm going to import another picture.
This clip and shape and smart and picture. I think those are available in PowerPoint.
Yeah. So most of they are all on the insert tab. So PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, they all have the insert tabs. They all use the ribbon mentality, ribbon and groups. So that's one thing that's common with the Microsoft Office tools. So,
and this chart and this pipelines. I think those
has to do with
this one. I think they have to do with Corel Draw.
Corel Draw.
Yeah, I think they have it there.
Yeah, they should.
I know those things.
Always pipelines. They can have it because we are not in Corel Draw.
Okay, that's not my name, but I know they have it. But these are the areas where you have to use to convert some, what is it called? It's like the one into a lot of things, child. So I want to remember.
So some of these, I think some of these softwares they have very similar functionality.
Yeah,
that's why it's using that one than this one because they have the same function. Okay, so for example, the image I just brought in, you can see the behavior of the image is like it's floating on my sheet. It's not sitting anywhere in a cell, it's just floating on. So it's just an object, and that's how I said. So what I was saying with the objects is that they are floating on the sheets, so they are not really sitting in a particular cell. Just unlike the data we have, the data will sit in the cell. So that was why the first thing that came to my mind would be, okay, maybe you have your organization's logo that you want to keep on the side before you print whatever table you have. So maybe you bring it and drag it to the top. So you just have big formatting. Just basically part of formatting your how your how the Excel sheet will look like at the end of the day. So what I'm doing, I'm just adding rows downwards so that I have space up here, maybe to bring my object to this place. I don't know. Maybe I want to print. I can also have let me see, there is a functionality I think I skipped. When I highlight cells like this, I can highlight them and merge them. I can highlight them and merge them. So I merge them together to be, you see this whole, actually, A, B, C, D, E, right? But because I marked them here, it's just like a simple. Let me for example, I marked everything to be almost the same cell. So I can write okay, so yes, I highlighted all these cells and I merged them together. So
back to the ribbon.
yes, okay, so let me add new rows so that we have a bit of space down here. So one here, one way. Right? So you can use it as like a header. As a header. So now you can go on to use other alignment tools. You can navigate, you can capitalize it by increase the size. So this is just adapting to say this object. And put it together. So all for the purpose of printing. So you have like a professional looking, maybe it's your report, isn't it? More professional looking report. And with printing the sheets, I think it's important to you get the printing because this sheet is very big, isn't it? If I, for instance, okay, you are already there. Here to the print. So you see we have this. There are settings for print active sheets. Okay, that's the active sheet. There's print entire workbook or print selected. So selected is actually what's selected. So I can select all these to make sure they are included in what I want to print. It's still going to be the same thing. So there is a bit of, if the column is too long, then it's just going to print. So you can just print and ignore the rest. So that's why like the printing is you make sure you are selecting the right things you are seeing here. Yeah, because our table is not wide and it's not what you want it to be. So when you are formatting or creating a report on an Excel sheet, I mean, because of the mathematics ability, you cannot do this, the maths in Microsoft Word printing. So to do it here and be able to print it from here, this is nice. It's nice. So okay, so that is that with illustration. Right? So illustration, we said it helps you bring other objects, either picture or shapes or icons or 3D models. Also, all these are objects.
Right?
Huh? Yeah, all those are illustrations. Yeah. So all those are images of some kind.
Yeah, you incited it, or did it come with the
No, yeah, it came with my own. I think.
no, but I know
It is smart card. Yes, you import this other this 20 minutes. 2021 that has
that
mine, yeah, mine was so, yeah, if you connect to the internet now,
we could bring that this to the land.
so all these are just 3D images, 3D models, and they call them that you can have on your. For me, I think Microsoft are just adding plenty to it. How would I make this 3D model?
It's good to have them on your in case you want to for
Yes, like you said, where you work, you need Excel, so you need to make professional looking documents. I think they might be some of these things.
I can't wait to go back to the class because you know in PowerPoint I use it to do all this
Presentation.
and all this kind of things. Create some idea, movies, and
Yeah, animation and transition.
because I remember then I was much younger, I was like almost 6 years old, I was much younger then. So in the 4.10 class, they will give us assignments to use it because I'm a writer. So I write super class. And so we were given assignment to any field or whatever you want to do that. Use it to create a kind of presentation, presentation. So I was able to use mine then with some of those tools as their image, and I write like all this two so yeah, what do you call this comic. I can't forget it. I was sitting there. Like that, I'm always interested in reading that. I was need to write some comments. Place I place some these pictures. I will write something that is so funny. They use and then pick a picture that will represent or that is that thing that I was so fun. So when I presented it, wow, my boys were like, wow, how did you come about this?
The creativity. It's the creativity.
Yeah.
Because if you have the tool, so if you are not creative with it, then it's not
useless.
yes, it's going to be useless. Like you give me wood and hammer now, I don't know what to because I don't have the I don't know this is taking time to
So
understand.
that is when anytime I'm going, I'm working on the things like I'm always looking forward to that part where I will see those things. I mean, tonight reminds me of what I was able to do to get them.
That's nice. Okay, so okay, aside tables and illustrations, there are charts. Charts are very important in Excel because this is the visual representation of your data. They have this. There's a data I have. This data set that is almost 300,000. Yes, 300,000 projects exactly. Nobody wants to look at this data like this. This just plain. But with charts, you can create a representation, almost a summary of that whole data. When you see the images, you know the people that came for this particular program, see the number. So charts are just, you cannot, if you're using Excel, you will have to use charts. Have to use charts. Because
I remember my boss during the course of our little presentation that we were here for. He was really telling me about that chart. More of
because that's where any analysis with numbers, when you do data analysis, The people you are presenting to mostly don't care about the numbers. You just want to see the charts and what it means. And what it means. So chart is, I don't know, maybe they said the picture is worth 1,000 words. So if someone just sees the picture, they'll see like a pie chart, for example. You see this amount belongs to this person. It easily makes sense with the eye. So charts are important. So with our data is this. Let me remove this one. So it's so my data selected and insert different charts, different type of charts. This is a column chart or a bar chart. Just by clicking it, the thing should highlight. Highlight just here. Just by clicking, there are different types of the column chart. There are the ones, there's even 3D columns, there's horizontal column. But let's just pick the first one. So this visualization for Francis, for Emmanuel, and the number of scores. When you see this case, or let me select the whole thing instead. Selecting the whole table. Now again, the table label is for English, orange is for maths, and this is for paper. Initially, I just highlighted just the names, giving the header behind them. So it says here series, A series, here series, C random. Highlighting this thing, I can see it label everything automatically. So when you select data again. So I will select this one. You see the chart is behaving like a picture. This is floating on the sheet. So picture. So select. If I ask it, I want to select data, I'm selecting the data. I want the chart to render it as. So I can come. See where you can point to, so you can come and select, so they are taking you back to another that's it. down with the chart, and you will notice that we are in the contextual tab for charts. So really, if you add it, I think we forgot to look at the pictures for the icon. Once we added them, there's the contextual chart for them, the tab for them also, that will allow us to do things like this. But simply, this is just change the style, how it looks, see the design of this one. Basically how to insert chart from data. Mostly you select the data you want to create a chart, then you go to the chart and choose the chart you want that data to be represented in Excel will and do the rest during the chart. Then the next group is the spark lines. Then we see. Don't think I've played around with the spark lines. Spotlights, it's almost like a chart too, except it's a different.
Mine is blonde still.
Huh?
Mine is blonde.
Should I take spotlights? Yes, because you are activated with use. So it's taking this data T4 to F5. This is very location and how the smart line to be placed. Calculate this location value. We just calculate for each column. axis, okay, this down is going up, and this, like this, the numbers are increasing as we go down, as this they are increasing. And maybe with the slope, maybe because the changes here are small, that's why it's a bit more flat. I think we add, let's do maybe because I cannot compare these two, because of the dash, I can compare these two, from 50 to 60 is going up, from 70 to, from 80 to 70 is coming down, this is coming down. And there's this pattern that has to do with, I've not really paid attention to the uses of pattern, I just stopped at the graph. But now it's kind of making sense. Maybe people will want to their data interpreted like this or summarized
or even
like
sometimes
this.
maybe somebody, it may not only be used in most cases, but people may have been using it in a particular way, like
Maybe in a
you know,
particular
like
industry or
like for example, maybe like you know when you talk about hypercarbon,
yeah, maybe
you know
to
somebody
encode
here to encode something, and probably people who are used to it, they can use to communicate and they write their words on the chart like themselves, using this particular
sparklers and
to
to
work.
and nobody knows.
And when you see one,
And you know, I can actually ask an internet
that's that one.
what sparklers are because I never really paid attention to the uses.
Yeah. Because it's, in this particular place of work, all these whole things about people understanding their things, it's not like I said it's hard. These are something that will require money to look into it and play around it. Go through it and make some research on how it is calculated. And you know, so now this is like a language.
This is since
You understand? It is a language. And there are people who knows how to interpret it, even when they see this or this part line, they say there's different line. They can use it to demonstrate a chart. And most of when you watch like weather forecast, you see like even on the stocks, it change.
different type of charts. Yes, can you
When you see the way they replace it and all those things, the weather change and all those things, you see that they use this particular to explain it.
to explain? Yeah. So this I said this is sparklers and tiny simple charts. Usually just a line that show trend and pattern in data. So just like we saw, since we had like other values, it will then maybe it will shift because we have 2 values here. That's why we just have 2 points. The first point and the second point. That is there is
I'm going to add one name. Let's add one name. See?
it's changing. So it's changing. So basically it's like it says, it's a simple chart. A very simple chart. So you take all those columns and that fits. And I pay attention to patterns. Just to summarize what that data and that whole column looks like, how the pattern of this moving. It's just like this stop also. Those lines to represent that this is the pattern we have. Okay? Then there's filters in the inside. So after sparklers, the group for sparklers, there is filters. We're going to see filters. So instead of doing filter